why would they do this to Sweden?
Sweden is very nice to China. Okay.
They're very nice to everyone, aren't they?
In 1971, when China tried to get into United Nations, so they need all the people vote.
Yeah.
Raise hands. Africa, of course. Many countries, okay. But Scandinavia, Norway stood up. Yes. Norway.
To let China in?
Yes, let China in.
Did they say it like that?
Denmark, look at. Yes. The Finland say, okay, two brothers, yes. Me, yes, two. Then Iceland. Okay, you already said yes. Of course I say yes. Sweden
Sweden said no.
Both hands. Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. So then what's the problem?
5 countries supported China, especially Sweden, getting into United Nations. Swedish people are very nice to Chinese people. But why now?
Well, you know what?
Norwegian, like Norway, was the very first country in the whole world recognized New China.
No. Don't.
1949, when New China established, Norway was the very first country recognized China.
Yeah.
But why China hates Norway? China hates Sweden.
I don't know.
Because they have the Nobel Prize. Because they give Nobel Prize to Dalai Lama.
That's ridiculous.
Because they give Nobel Prize to Liu Xiaobo. He's anti-revolutionary. And recently, they want to receive Dalai Lama again.
Well, you know what is the problem here? China has got a really unstable and I can't think of the word, but it's just like I just decided that today, I'm gonna do this, and then try to support those bad decisions. Wait, stop, calm down. It's just that they can't even. The judgment is so poor, it seems, of when and what is important. They can't. Wouldn't you want to have a good impression? Maybe they think that is a good impression, the government, to seem like a bully sometimes, but they seem so unstable and so inconsistent. That's the word that I want. So inconsistent. It's so inconsistent. It's like a child or a teenager. Exactly like a teenager. 1 minute, so happy, my song is on, I'm dancing around, and then, why did you touch my stuff? Where is my thing?
Come on, it's a candy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Happy again.
Oh, this is my jam. Just like a teenager.
Yeah. Okay. I love my country. Don't get me wrong. I mean my old country, China. I was born there. I was raised there. And my family, my grandfather has a very good relationship, very close relationship with Mao Zedong, okay? So I'm not anti-revolutionary. I only say this to help my country, to help the people working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Be mature. Pick up something good, okay? Don't do stupid things like this. Make a fool of yourself.
Because it's so obvious. I'm sorry, but if you think that the majority of people in a country, or the people that are in power in a country, are going to fall for something so absolutely immature and ridiculous, even most of the people above age 20, come on. Actually, even below age 20, people are not stupid. Why do you act like people are... That's the most insulting thing. They're insulting other people's intelligence.
This is insulting their own people's intelligence.
They're definitely insulting themselves.
Yeah.
They don't see that. They're insulting their own people as a whole. I mean, you are ethnically Chinese. You have to live with that stigma. How does that feel?
I'm just very complicated.
And not everybody will do that, because there are mature people who obviously see a person for who they are individually, but at the same time, there are a lot of people who don't, and they stereotype.
For me, it's like it's like I'm seeing my brother, seeing my sister or my family doing something very stupid. You know, I just hate this and love this, hate it. What can I do to
And
help?
you have to be
You know?
held responsible for it, at least on to a certain extent, because you share the
How
same.
can you pick up Sweden and say this is not a safe country? This is a discrimination.
Discriminatory
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, no. This is has a big discrimination. Oh. Don't pick Sweden. Say this is a country of discrimination. Okay.
Okay.
And don't pick Sweden. Say this is a. Just wait. Don't pick Sweden. Say this is an unsafe country. Okay. Sweden is one of the absolutely safest country in the world, and the people are absolutely the friendliest and most hospitable people in the world. Okay. You pick up a wrong country to do that. If you don't like Sweden, dealing with Dalai Lama, tell them directly. Make a point. Say, we love Sweden, but we don't like the way you treat Dalai Lama.
Okay. Do you know what? First off, they have no say in that, and it's none of their business. Honestly. Okay? And that's what China needs to realize. That they need to back off telling other people what to do, and then trying to bully them into their belief system. That is a big problem, and that's where China doesn't get it. They cannot tell other countries and other people, like they do with their own people, what they should think and feel and who they should honor and who they feel that is worthy of respect, because that is none of China's business. And if they want to learn something, actually they should pay attention to what Sweden is doing and who they are awarding and why they are giving these awards to somebody. And that is why it is so stupid and ridiculous that they're even bothering, because the Dalai Lama is a wonderful person. Excuse me, who has a problem with the Dalai Lama? Nobody! Except for China, apparently. And it's not even on a fundamental or a moral basis. You realize that? It's completely on political, and basically their feelings got hurt and their ego got bruised. That's so childish. As a government, for a government to behave that way, it's so childish. The Dalai Lama is a wonderful man.
At least the Chinese government can learn from me. Shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, come on.
Okay.
It's nobody's business. They can't be angry over that.
Anyway, China, my motherland, desperately needs friends now. Okay, don't make more enemies. We have enough enemies. Make more friends. I hope this issue can be solved very low. Not chaos, not high, but low. And to finish it and make peace. Make everybody happy. China, my motherland. Sweden, my brotherland. Be friends again. Okay, this is the whole point of our video today.
Yeah.
World peace. Even the US and the Chinese, former Chinese, can work together.
Seriously, that's because you need to just grow up. Just grow up a little. Come on, people.
I admit, I'm a 60 years old young man. I'm still learn so much from this in the late 30s woman. Learn so much from her. Yes, it's true.
Thank you. I am a teacher.
Okay, it's a good story.
Well, yeah. It kind of kept drifting off topic, and it kept pulling you back. I'm like, whoa, wait. Because you were people can't tell what's happening because they didn't have the story yet. They needed the picture before all of that. But leave it.
But
leave
anyway,
it.
my screenwriting is that I want to give a result. The result is because the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, acted so angrily and so aggressively This is why I brought this topic out.
Well, you know what? Actually, it's not even. They're acting very passive aggressive. This is like, okay, and I don't want to offend any. Everybody gets offended by anything you say, so it doesn't matter. So fine, take offense. I don't care anymore. Everybody be offended by everything I say.
Yeah.
That's your right, and it's my right to say it. So you can take offense.
It's your right to be angry.
It's your right to be angry, and it's my right to say it. So, okay, but honestly, a lot of times in relationships where there's miscommunication and things is because, honestly, and it's psychological studies, so don't get on me and say I'm a hater. Someone says I'm a feminist, now someone's going to say that I hate women, so screw it. But a lot of women are very passive-aggressive. And say a man, you know, he's been staying late or something like that, and then he comes home and she's upset, or, you know, oh, your food, your you know, whatever is over there, and I was busy, and just gives really curt answers and says, oh, everything's fine, but she's behaving in a way where you know everything's not fine.
I know.
That's passive aggressive.
I know.
And that is actually one of the worst things to deal with. Okay, that's the one of the worst things to deal
What's
with.
the problem?
Yeah, it's like, just say it already.
No problem. I'm perfectly fine. Yeah. Do I look have a problem? I'm happy. Thank you. Good.
It's good. It's horrible though. It's horrible. It's not. And you know that's the last thing that politicians should be doing.
This is something that the Chinese government, I mean the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they seems not to know how to deal with relationships, how to build a relationship, how to,
you know what, I
not
think
to say things.
What it seems is that they're just they are really intent upon doing everything on their terms, in their style, in their way. And it's not true, you know, that they're willing to grow and change and communicate the way another person needs to. It's just, it's not, I don't know, okay? It's just that if you're going to be dealing with other countries on a regular basis, you need to have some diplomacy. You need to learn about that. What happened to the old days when people were going to go visit a dignitary and they were put through a whole course that taught them, and they learned all about everything before they even got there, how to approach the person, all of these things. Where did that go? They have absolutely no diplomacy, and so they get disrespected.
The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs really acts like a propaganda team. Like they are just pour out emotions. They always say, we are angry, we are furious, things like this. I mean, a Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not a place to show your feelings. It's a place to show your stand. Okay?
But maybe, I think actually all of that behavior is purely for their own people. It's not for outsiders. It's purely for their own people. So, you know, they're targeting their audience, and that's maybe what they respond to. Is that what it is?
Okay, for example, there was a few weeks ago, I think, the Chinese have the Chinese gave a press conference. Okay, and the Chinese government does not like a particular Japanese media, because this particular media is always pick up Chinese something. So they don't allow this particular media going into the conference room. Then they got a boycott of the whole Japanese media. They all don't go. No.
So it was a particular channel.
Channel, yes.
That they
one
wouldn't
newspaper,
allow in.
One newspaper.
One newspaper. Okay. One newspaper they wouldn't allow into the press conference, and so then all of the Japanese media just said, "Okay,
boycott.
never mind.
Never mind.
We don't need to cover this."
Then the Chinese get pissed off. If it was press conference, no press come. What is a press conference?
That's where you break out the apology, and you say, "We're sorry. We can't control what you report." and your angle, because that's not our job to control what another country's media says about us.
Okay, then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the spokeslady, said like this: we urge Japanese government to educate your media, to give them some education, tell them how to behave.
In other words, we urge you to censor your media and tell them not to report on us accurately.
So you should educate your media people behave in a foreign country properly. That made me laugh. Oh
It's
my
ridiculous.
God.
You would think all of this stuff is new for China. You would think that they never heard of the press and freedom of speech and all. You would think that these are all totally new concepts. Yet, how long has open door and reform been going on? How long has this been a reality for China to just have to know it doesn't exist in China? But if they want to interact with outside media and outside countries, they have known that this exists, and they're not going to be able to change it, because one thing that most Western countries, and Japan included, even though it's in the East, but it's a Western country.
Western culture.
It's a Western culture, and actually they purposely adopted that. The emperor purposely adopted that a long time ago, because he saw that that's where the future was. Yeah. But they should know they have to deal with this.
One of the major jobs for the press is to criticize their government. Okay, don't forget that. In a foreign country, especially in a Western country, media is not a propaganda team for the government.
No.
On the contrary,
people complain and say it is, and then it becomes a big controversy, and then people get fired.
And here in the States, media is the enemy of President Trump.
Well, and that's because if they're, and some say, okay, there are too many that are too much on his side and everything. So at least you get all of that. It should be messy. It should be that everybody gets to have their say. That's important.
It's okay for an individual to be ignorant. It's okay for individuals don't know those things, but not excusable for a government spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Exactly. Of course, the average ordinary person, I don't know about customs in every country and everything, but if I'm going to be going there and representing my country or even my company, say we're going to represent my company in Japan, would I go into a meeting or into a situation the same as I would in America? No, I wouldn't. Obviously, I wouldn't. I would have to learn what's expected of me in front of that. And then, of course, my company would even have to approve that I'm prepared to represent them.
You would get very much offended because that man did not shake your hand.
See?
They only bow to you.
Exactly. And I just look at them and say, what? Okay. But, we would be prepared anyway, because I would probably have someone sit with me if I were representing a company. It wouldn't even be up to me to find out. My company would set me with a coach.
Yes.
Because this is important.
So, Ministry of Foreign Affairs in China, you represent the country, do more studies.
It seems like they just don't care. They want to do it their way or no way. They just really do not care. They have no conscience and no shame.
There's no need for Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, there shouldn't be. Because they're not doing anything.
Then you just stick to yourself. Don't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Make no friends. Don't do no trade to anyone. Then you'll be perfectly fine.
Exactly, because if you're going to deal with other countries, you have to deal with the fact that the countries communicate differently, have different expectations, and you know what? First and foremost, in most Western cultures, is that you want your first impression to be a good impression, because it's the lasting impression. But what keeps happening with the government of China is they come out with anger, and towards,
basically showing personal emotion is a kid. It's immature.
Yeah.
It's a childish.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a professional atmosphere.
Yes. True.
In your personal life, it's
okay.
It's good.
It's okay, but not when you represent a country.
International politics.
Yeah. So
And
we are, and I'm openly say we are very angry with this. We are furious, and Chinese people are this and that, you know. And Trump, you should wake up.
And you know what? How do Chinese people feel? Honestly, I'm wondering, how do Chinese people feel with their representatives saying things like this? Do they stand behind this guy and go, yeah, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and support him?
Some Chinese do.
I'm sure some do. It's just like some people here. You've got all kinds of
Finally,
weird...
we have a chance to say no to America. You know, all these years, you know, we were pressed down by the West, and we're nobody. We're just the Chinese and the dog, you know, cannot get into the place. Now we can say no. Of course, it's a great feeling, and you know, we can say no. And even Chinese guy can have a sit together with a white woman. It's also, oh yeah, you know. We won. 我们赢了，
What's that? What are you saying?
搞了个白女人
What is he saying?
with a white woman.